Look Up TV movement now.
Glad you're watching. Welcome back, and thank you very much for choosing to stay with us on the Big Conversation. Of course, Kate Kyoko, a counseling psychologist, is here with us, and Ben Rogers, who is also a life coach and recovery coach. Thank you very much. Having been from the point of being there as well, we appreciate your presence. And we're going to be picking a few studies just so we can address. You never know who's watching back at home. But let's start with the drugs, addictions, and you having been there, you relapsed at one point, but you positively picked up and said, this is progress. This is me healing in progress. So you want to pick a few case studies because you might understand them better, having met them also. They come for question and so what are most of the clients battling, and maybe somebody back at home can relate with relapsing and stigmatization? How do you handle that?
One of the toughest things I've faced as a recovering addict is the stigmatization in the society, because number one, if you become an addict, you're criminalized and you're rejected. So, and everyone thinks you've lost it. And even before the rehab, I had gone to a number of churches, getting in, getting saved, and then I'm coming out because I hadn't understood or addressed the inner hood. They would cast out the demon of drinking, but then there is the inner hood, There is all these issues of being prayed for, but until we understand what we are dealing with, even as the ministers of the gospel, allow that person to speak what is ailing them. Because most of the time we just talking about Nimlevi is a drunkard, she's a drunkard, but then we don't really understand what is under. Until we understand, allow these people to speak to you, understand their case even before you cast any demons. Because I remember one of these prophets telling me that I'm the son of perdition, that I'm destined to destruction. And I'm like, if a man of God can tell me this, then I'm done. Because as much as I'm trying to explain what is in me, there is this story in the society, you are hitting, unakula vizuri and stuff like that. So that becomes one of the challenges, the stigmatization, the stigma in the society. Then another thing is the issue of, you realize there's the issue of now you personally, that you have relapsed, and because of the same stigma of what the people are saying about you, you internalize that and you feel you are a failure. I want to encourage someone there struggling with addiction that relapse is part of the process. It is at least you manage to get into a rehab. And addiction being a chronic brain disease, it means even another treatment and another treatment. Because if someone has got diabetes and they are treated and it recurs, we cannot say they are failures. They need some more treatment. So whenever you relapse and you're called to get back into the rehab again, that is okay. You haven't lost it. It's part of the treatment. Some of us will respond fast, some others will respond slowly, even to medication, the normal medication. And I remember being in all these churches, being prayed for, prophet and stuff like that, but I kept relapsing, And even after rehab, I'm relapsing. So I want to encourage someone there, it is not over. I was sleeping in junkyard, I was eating in these heaps, I was doing all those stuff. But I accepted. And even as I live day by day, I have come to realize and to understand that sometimes you learn more from the setbacks more than the real thing. Because a setback will give you an opportunity to learn, to understand more, to understand what exactly I'm dealing with, which path should I take, who should I relate to, it's all those things. So it's not over. Guys out there, it is not over. You can always go back there. You can always go back there and seek more help.
And I want to talk about who you surround yourself with. Like you said, they trigger. So your type of friends, I'm just going to put emphasis because we already touched on that, so did you. So who are your friends? But you see, Kate, I want to ask you this. Some of people have, like you said, parents, narcissistic parents. Yeah, your parent is just you know, who they are. And you cannot say, I'm breaking off from my family, I'm no longer part of this family. How do they handle this particular situation? They really have to be in that family.
If any person, whether a child under 18 or even an adult, they have the right to seek help. And that's where marriage and family therapists come in.
Okay.
Because we believe that any behavior that is manifested, you don't see a person in isolation. You see them being related, or rather being embedded in a family setup. And that means I would seek to know the relationship between the parent and the child, and the environment, or the caregiver, or even where they are living at. Okay? So I would want to deal with her as an individual. Okay. And again, I would go to an extent on learning to know what is the environment like. What are the parental styles that this child is experiencing? Because one thing is that parents, the way you parent a toddler is not the way you parent a teenager. You have to shift the parenting style. A toddler, you'll say, kuja, enda, you know. But a teenager would question, and why, how? Because that is an area they're trying to identify, to know their identity, and also to explore on things, and they keep on questioning.
Yes.
And sometimes as parents we mistake them by, like, they're being rebellious. Look at the time they are sleeping. That is another area that parents have conflicts with their children.
Okay.
They'll sleep late because of their brain, the way their brain is working. They sleep late, they wake up late. That's an area of conflict. So as I said, you have to shift how you talk to them. Imagine they listen and they hear. You don't need to shout.
Okay.
You don't need to shout. They hear. You have told them do this, yes. And it is a stage also of negotiation when it comes to that. So once I handle this client as a teenager, and I know the relationship, I'll of course, the parent is the one who will sign the consent.
Yes.
Okay? So most likely they will be aware that this child is seeking help. So I'll have to welcome them in session. And that's how we get to family therapy and understand and psychoeducate them of the changes of these children. There are psychological changes, there are physical changes which involve hormonal, all this stuff, spiritual, everything. So this parent needs to be psychoeducated of the changes. Remember, the generation you're bringing up today is not as we were brought. Sometimes we tend to transfer the things were impacted in us. You know, you can only give what you have, yeah? Yes. But the good thing is psychologists or counselors are now sensitizing the parents the right way to parent. From dictatorship, or rather what we call authoritarian, to being authoritative, and also learning the psychological well-being, or rather the mental well-being of that parent.
Okay, so even for the parents, they need a lot of, you know, you need to check yourself.
Yes, for
everyone.
The parent,
this actually means everyone.
Yes.
Those in government,
yes,
teachers,
everybody.
Everyone needs to have some bit of soul searching and healing to do. The fact that you're a human being and you have emotions, we're talking to you today.
And please don't transfer your own issues to your children. Handle them.
Handle them.
Handle them. Take care of it, and then now for you to be freed from this, then you can only you can only transfer healthy talks to your children, because you've worked on yourself. What you went through, you don't have to tell us what you went through.
You know,
I know I went through this. But avoid also overdoing it.
Okay.
Avoid overdoing it, just do in moderation.
Okay.
Yes.
And I want to come to a question that no one expects that I would ask, but you see, is anyone strong enough?
No.
No.
You know, I want to hear from you both because, because people say, well, life doesn't get better, I get stronger, all right? And some people say, well, I went past that. you know, hizo ni vitu nili outgrow. Okay, kuna kitu kinifanyia hainigusi. You know, I have gone past that.
You're just seeking approval.
Yeah, I think as Kate is saying, that is more of seeking approval. You being what the society expects you to be. You're not being you. Because when it comes to, let me mention addiction, you have heard people say, you know, nowadays when I look at the cigarette, I feel this nostalgic stuff like that. But that's not real, because already these feelings, they're embedded in the limbic system of the brain. You know, that emotional part that reminds you of good and bad moments. So personally, I can tell you for real out there, and I'm speaking it for someone who is struggling. I have these moments like I feel like I need to take a drink. I pass through a club and I'm hearing the music that I used to hear, the triggers, and I'm like playing to the music, and I'm like, but Rogers, you are a Christian, forget about that. Now, unapita, you know, until we accept that this is a problem, and I reach a point where nili accept sina nguvu. I don't have I'm not strong enough to go sit in a club the whole night. I'm not strong enough to sit with my cousins as they are popping these drinks and stuff like that. To whatever business we have, then I do something else. I can go even to the ladies to listen what they are saying. I don't have to stay there. So to me, no one is strong enough. No one is like, I have overcome this. As I sit here, I'm recovering. I'm not like recovered, fully recovered, because there are those moments like I'm depressed and I'm feeling like, or I wake up in the morning and I find this guy smoking in the neighborhood. I'm like, you know, all those but I have to understand that I am not strong enough. I have to understand that I'm being overwhelmed, and I call Kate. This thing is troubling me. You need to accept that you're not strong enough to be beyond seeking help. So that's my take.
All right, Kate. And I like that you're a very real person. You know, most people always say, nah, that's fine. I can handle Baba Nani.
Yes.
I'm strong enough.
You don't know yourself until that incident happens. That is why people, you are like, you hear someone saying, really, was that me? Because the heart of man is so deceitful. You know, we are living in a broken system. We are broken. Personally, we are broken.
Okay.
Since the fall of Adam, we are broken mechanism that needs really the power of God and a lot of self-discipline and a lot of expertise, information.
Yeah, and what I picked from you is the situation. That you put yourself in. There's some that you can avoid and there's some that you can't. He has said, I wouldn't sit in a club when I know very well I will not, you know, stay through it and not relapse. You want to touch on that, because you can choose your type of friends.
Yes.
And you've also said you choose your reaction, but something about creating the situation. Because if you know that you're sexually active, I'll give that example for it, you know, and you are estranged to your partner, you have vowed not to get, you know, intimate. Why would you create a situation that will make you fall back? Maybe you want to touch on the situations that you might, if you can have power to avoid, then you can avoid, depending on certain case studies.
That takes you to understanding who you are, the self-awareness. And you're able to know, what is my weakness, what is my strength. I know I can stand this, but this one I cannot. So once you identify your weakness, then why do you have to pursue it? Why do you have to sit there if you know you'll be tempted and you're like, let me just have one drink? Or rather, if it's a group of girls who you know the kind of lifestyle they live, you're likely to emulate their behavior. So why don't you avoid that group? So it's about you, not them.
Okay.
You know, we keep social groups just to maintain our status sometimes. But sometimes it takes painfully just to decide, this is what the kind of life I want, and you have to separate yourself and do the things that will build you, not what will break you. So it is upon you to decide and know, this is the way I can be able to navigate through this, but this one I cannot. Then avoid it.
Okay.
Or rather seek help. Prayers, if you're a prayerful person, to overcome, if it's something which you think it's so heavy for you, and God somehow has his way to make a way for you. So you do not have to make yourself like I'm strong and I'm able to do it.
Because what I'm picking even from my own experience, because sometimes you take off that journalistic outfit and you throw it away and you become Anki, is that you cannot really avoid emotional wounds, can you?
You cannot.
Because this is life. You're pretty much going to be in a workplace.
Yes.
You're going to be, you know, meeting friends. You're going to be having family. You're meeting a spouse. Yeah. So are you, you know, safe from emotional wounds? And, you know, everyone then needs inner healing. So I don't think anyone is exempted from this discussion.
And let me, Anki, I add something that those kind of groups, they will also remind you of those pains. Okay, they keep on triggering. Is it workplace? If it was a breakup, you see a similar person who did this to you. And you know that could have changed your attitude and could have changed your assumption. And you start seeing them as the same person who hurt you. So you're likely to also to project certain behavior towards him, yet they are innocent. So, and I said again, I will go back and until you work on yourself and you attend to those wounds, you may not find healing. You will get stuck. You'll live a bitter person. You'll live an unforgiving person, and with some character. There are people who are already labeled. We are nakwaga too evil. It is something you need to try to dig out and explore what would have happened for them. Were they like this before? Or if something happened and they changed, it's always good. And talk to them also. Identify a person who has gone to a similar case and you can see they have triumphed. It's always good to talk to them.
Work with somebody.
Work with somebody who have gone to a similar case. If it's a drug addict, they can reach out to somebody who overcame. How did you do it? If a single mother and you can see, you admire them and they are okay, well, they are psychological, they are not bitter, they are always happy. How did you manage?
Or how are they managing?
How are they managing? and that way that you share, that's what we call support system. Other than now the therapy, there's also the support system. Get into groups, you can read, you know, there's a lot of information out there that can help you. So don't go unattended, don't go without help. There is always help out there.
And one thing that I've noticed is that you're slowly changing.
Yes.
And that's what we're saying this morning. You don't have, you know, sometimes people have said, is there a good human being and a bad human being? You know, I'm coming back to that question, you know, because we're shaped by circumstances, by these wounds, and then you say, uyu anakwanga tu mtu mbaya. But apparently, had they dealt with their inner wound, they would just turn out as good. I'm coming to that after the comments, because people are talking to us, and I'm seeing Joyce Kimari saying, before I read Joyce Kimari's question to you guys, Chris Jr. saying, great staff colleagues, this is a real contribution to society. Thank you very much, Chris Jr.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
And now Joyce Kimari is saying, are the psychologists in public schools to assist children?
Yeah.
That's the question from Joyce.
I know schools who already have counselors in session to help them. Although I understand we have those guiding and counselors, which is a bit different. But we also sensitizing that they have counseling psychologists who can understand a child, because that is an area of conflict also between a child and a teacher. Where you mtoto wako ni kichwa ngumu. Why is it kichwa ngumu? Until you get to talk to the teacher and also explore with the child what is the environment at home like. Why is it child acting out like this? You need to dig out what is the environment at home. And that's why I said we don't look at an individual as in isolation. We also dig out the environment, which entails also the family. The environment, the peers that they have. So yes, we should have, if there are schools who don't have, and I know most of them who are suspended, they send you to counselors and come with a letter. And some of them who have been sent to us, at least we do that is, although it's not enough, 3 sessions with them. So, and then we get them back to school, and when they close schools, we continue with them. So any school that have not embraced counseling psychologists or counselors, it's very important they have, because that is an area where teachers are seeing very weird behaviors, where children are acting out. But since the teacher doesn't have skills, they may not be able to understand.
So still, you need a professional.
We need a professional.
But you see, when you talk about schools, again, I know why I agree with Joyce that we need this kind of, you know, professionals in and within institutions. Is a teacher can also emotionally wound a child, and detrimentally for that matter.
I agree with the lady commenting, because most of the time you'll find the people down there, all they're doing is give you advice. I've sat with such when I was in school. And all they're telling me is what I should be and what I should not be. But they're not listening to understand why. The why is the underlying issues. You know? Because when you address what you're seeing without understanding what are the causes, then it becomes very difficult. And the fact that someone is telling you, unajua ulevi itakuua, you know, you are not helping me, because already I know I'm dying. I've accepted to die. I want even to die. I have these suicidal tendencies going through my mind every night. So, as she said, we need these experts out there. If you are not able to do it, it's not a shame to refer someone. If a case comes to me and I cannot handle this case, why not call Kate and tell her, hii kesi sitaweza chukua. Yes.
I like when you have said, sometimes somebody is, when you're telling somebody, hii kulalala nje itakupea ukimwi. They know it is going to. So why don't you know why in a la 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 engine, right? And when I took a break, because this has been the most difficult time for couples. I want us to go back there, because these couples are the parents, these couples are the colleagues, these couples are the people who are killing each other. So I know we want to close the conversation, but I want to hear from you on seeing the signs in your partner. And how to help them if they're able to be helped, that is, if they have accepted. Because the reason I'm bringing this up, Kate, is because the number of young people dying because of homicides, because in fact, we need to have a discussion on couple jealousy in our next discussion.
Exactly.
But where would the envy come from? It is the inner me, the young child who was told I cannot be, and the amazing woman. You know, but what would you tell people right now? Because marriages work, right?
Yes.
But one of the fights in marriages right now is the inner wounds.
Yes.
Yeah, so maybe, I don't know how you'll approach it, but for the sake of watching back at home, how you'll put it in a professional way would really be helpful.
We do premarital, which handles and tackles some of these issues. And again, we also do couple therapy when there are conflicts. And most of these conflicts, they are similar. One of the topics that we handle is the personality and family of origin.
Family of origin? Yes.
Okay. Family of origin also will take care of also the child, what we have just discussed, the childhood experiences, and many, many other things. We also have issues with, this is another major topic where we have attachment issues.
Oh, yes.
Now, attachment issues is a place where if you do not get secure attachment with your parents, you are likely to exhibit other behaviors in adulthood. If you had a caregiver which you didn't trust or mistreated you, you either become what we call anxiously attached or avoidantly attached. Anxiously, they are afraid they will be left. They will be abandoned because they have ever experienced such. And when they grow up, you find these partners who are so clinging because they're afraid to be, and they will always ask, where are you okay? And there are others who are avoidant. They fear to be emotionally connected. Before, for them, from childhood, they never experienced that with their parents or their caregivers. So exactly what they had is what they give out. And so that will also be impacted to their children. So here we come and psychoeducate so the parents, and let them know your childhood may not have gone the right way, you may not have been securely attached, but now you can learn to bring your children who will be securely attached. Not only are you providing for the basics, you also need to provide emotionally. You need to be responsive emotionally. create quality time. You cannot learn about your child unless you've created a quality time with them. Grow with them, identify any abnormal behavior. And that way, that child, when they grow, they will project the same, they will transfer the same. So these are things that we are carrying out from family of origin, our childhood, and now that we are adults, we are not like we cannot change. Any human being can change. And we are learning, we are getting more information. Let us adapt, let us be flexible, let's not be rigid with our own beliefs, those which are unhealthy. Let's adapt to the best and the positive ones and change towards promoting mental well-being.
I like that you have said there's no human being that cannot change. You see, we have certain sayings like you cannot teach an old...
Yes.
These are all things, and we didn't even talk about social media.
Yes.
And how social media can wound you thoroughly.
Exactly.
Very true.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of people on social media, and we're speaking, and a lot of memes glorify, you know, break them, you know, insult them. Did they know that they're actually wounding someone? And you will not see that you wounded them in social media, right?
Yes.
And maybe you can close with that, you know, because someone is trending for being a drunk. In fact, people are laughing at the meme. When we, now that we are preparing for the, you know, the burial of the late Mwai Kibaki, we've seen people praying. There's been something going around on WhatsApp of a drunk praying and crying out. And what if he saw himself?
What I can say is that as a society, we should be more careful with what we are doing, because our life is a system that is composed of environments, our nurturing, and what we are saying out there. But I can say that we might not be able to control what is happening out there.
Yes.
As I live here today, I might not be able to control everything that I will meet on the way. So it becomes a bit tricky. And sometimes, as I earlier said when we were beginning, I said that sometimes even these parents, they are saying stuff that they don't mean. They're just saying it, and but this child is developing and they are internalizing these things, and they grow with them and they come to exhibit them at a later time in their lives. So I think more education is needed to the society. Panels like this, I think, so that we can understand the stigmatization, because I've met, for example, I've met so many parents, especially the mothers, taking their children to these prophets and these witch doctors, because they think addiction is witchcraft or a flaw of character. So there is needed more information there. And Kate, I think even more counseling psychologists are needed. We needed to get out there and pass this information, because sometimes people are doing stuff that they don't know they're affecting. Because here is a young boy who is seeing a drunk trading is all over, and he thinks that's a model. You know, we learn through modeling, you know, we learn through imitation, observation. They're observing, and this guy is trending and everyone is laughing, you know, but deep inside he is admiring that, and he tries that. He experiments to be that. Little does they know that they are getting into a trap that is really painful, that is really shaming, and that's really hurting. So I think every stakeholder in the child development we should be able to be taught these things, and join hands from the pastors, from the social workers, to the medical staff, to counseling psychologists. We get together and we reach out our communities. I think that's the best way to approach it. And
thank you for being a success story, and also acknowledging that you are still in the process of healing. No one really actually is strong enough. It's always a journey. Kate, I know I want to, you know, take a breather and get into the next segment, but I'm welcoming you guys again.
Thank you.
And I know you have a 1 minute closing remark.
1 minute closing remark is let us validate our children, affirm them, nurture them in the right environment for them to grow. And everybody else, no one was created a bad human being. We were created good human being, but experiences has changed our character. So those who feel that they're not the way they should be, they need to seek help.
They need to seek help.
And we are here to help.
Thank you, Kate. I know your social media platforms are at the bottom of the screen. If you need, Ben Rogers' contacts and Kate, DM us. I know Nasha is on the social media real quick to just make sure that you get your help real quick. Don't die alone. Look Up TV is right here for you as well. So is Kate and Rogers. Like we said, I know she said there's no bad or good human being, and trust me, I agree. That you're shaped differently, but what happens is you have the power to get out of it when you decide that it is time. And I hope that today is your turnaround and you decided that it is time to heal. Remember, it's not an event, it's a progress. So be graceful enough to yourself, take your time and be patient with yourself. But above all things, please be kind to yourself. Thank you for watching the Big Conversation. And remember, it was all about inner healing and the emotional wounds, just unveiling that. And remember, talk. Open up, speak. Until you do, you will not realize that there is strength in your pain and truth in your pain. We'll be right back.
Make those payments and take dinner out the freezer. Enjoy your day off.
Hey.
How was your day?
Great.
Did you pay the bills?
Abby did it.
And the plumber?
Abby did it.
Send money to your mom.
Abby did it.
Who's Abby?